Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, May 23, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know though there's been like in your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazard Outlook for the next 2 weeks, we can see that we have some amount of slightly above normal rainfall expected for sections of the Greater Antilles, sections of the Northeastern Caribbean as well, from about May 31st to June 6th. Then again around June 7th to June 13th, that's where they've highlighted another area across the Greater Antilles, so Cuba, maybe southern Florida, the Bahamas, as well as the Turks and Caicos, while the rest of the Caribbean should be experiencing average rainfall. We can also see when we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening that we still have those two tropical waves across the main Devon region, making their way westward to crash into sections of South America. And we can also see the trough that has been affecting and influencing the weather conditions across the Greater Antilles. It's right there to the northeast of the Bahamas at this time. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with those tropical waves across sections of the main Devon region. And we can also see a lot of low-level clouds pushing its way from east to west across the main Devon region into the Caribbean. We can also see some leftover clouds across sections of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands associated with that trough. And we can also see the trough itself spinning away right there off to the northeast of the Bahamas. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica. It was stated in our previous video that we would have received some early morning rainfall across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica, then some afternoon rainfall across especially northern parishes in Jamaica. And what ended up happening? A post was made at 6:35 a.m. on our Twitter page showing the infrared close-up satellite images highlighting some low-level clouds across sections of some southern and western parishes. So we indeed had some amount of light rainfall or moderate rainfall across some southern parishes in Jamaica early this morning. And then another post was made at 1:46 p.m. this afternoon highlighting the visible satellite images showing clouds bringing overcast skies and rainfall to sections of eastern, central and western Jamaica, with majority of the north coast being embedded in all of those clouds. So we indeed had that rainfall, and we even had our commenters confirming the rainfall. Michael Powell stating 2:30 p.m. on Labor Day, we have thunderstorm in Discovery Bay, St. Anne. Rainfall is around 6 millimeters per hour. Even on our Instagram page, we have commenters confirming the rainfall. Essence Boss 876 stating it's raining heavily in Falmouth. Reno Jack stating raining in Ocho Rios. And then we had our commenters on our Facebook page highlighting the very same for the same time. Stachin stating thanks for the update, raining in Cedar Valley, St. Thomas. Vivia Blair stating rain in Ochi. And then Chrissy stating raining. Another commenter, Karen Murray, stating raining. Then another post was made at 3:05 p.m. on our Twitter page highlighting the infrared satellite images showing lots of their colors. You know, the colors indicate the high cold cloud tops in the upper levels of the atmosphere. I know that the sparkling white dots indicate lots of lightning flashes, strikes or thunderstorms right there. And it was definitely across northern parishes. Exactly what we said would happen in yesterday's video is exactly what happened. So we had that southerly flow across the island, then we have that buildup of clouds across northern Jamaica, then we had the thunderstorms and they were being streaked out towards the southeast by that upper level wind shear, and that's exactly what happened, which brought some amount of overcast skies to mainly some southern parishes. Some southern parishes got in on some isolated shores, but the brunt of the heaviest rainfall was across northern Jamaica. And we even had our commenters on our Instagram page confirming the rainfall at that time. Perfect Trend stating raining in Mapen. Then That girl too thick stating, yeah man, Montego Bay a washway. And then Marquise stating rain here in Yalas, St. Thomas. If we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see where we had that southerly low-level flow of clouds coming in from the south to the north. Then when it reached across the northern or inland areas of some southern parishes, that's when they became convective cumulonimbus clouds, and then they went all the way up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, and then the wind shear pushed them off towards the south and east, and we see the wind shear doing that better on the infrared satellite images right here with all of the colors. We know that the heaviest of the rainfall or the deepest convection is represented by the reds right there and the blacks within those reds. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images right now, we can still see that we still have some amount of rainfall across sections of the island at recording hour, represented by some of these greens right here of the southern coastal areas, not to mention the northern coastal areas as well. Taking a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours, we can see where we indeed had that rainfall across sections of the island for today. So especially northern Jamaica got in on the rainfall. This map is not 100% accurate, especially with the rainfall totals, but it gives us the gist that we indeed had that rainfall across especially northern parishes in Jamaica, and some southern parishes did indeed get in on some amount of isolated showers. Taking a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can expect average to slightly above average temperatures across majority of the Caribbean, but for Jamaica we should be receiving average temperatures because we don't see Jamaica embedded in any yellows or any blues that represent above normal or below normal temperatures. So average temperatures for the month of May across Jamaica 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Now when we take a look at the thermometer, that's the equivalent of about 32 degrees Celsius. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can still see that majority of Jamaica is still embedded in a lot of blues that represent moist air. We see on the key at the bottom, the dry air is represented by the yellows and it gets more intense when it gets into reds and the whites within those reds, and we can see the driest air right there of the east coast of the United States. Jamaica is in the clear. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that 2 p.m. on Wednesday shows that some sections of the Windward Islands should be getting in on some slight hazy weather, with majority of the dust across sections of the main development region and Africa. Jamaica is in the clear for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for 12 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models still show that we should be receiving anywhere from 1 meter wave heights or less surrounding the island, and that's due to the fact that we'll still be receiving weak winds. And look at the direction that the winds are still coming from. We're still getting that southerly kind of flow across the island. For tomorrow, anywhere from 0 to 5 knots is what is expected. So we don't have that strong easterly flow of winds like what we're used to, so it might seem hotter than normal. And we know that wherever that air piles up, wherever we have those darkest shades of blues, that's where we're going to have that afternoon convection, those cumulonimbus clouds building. So we might just have a repeat of what we had today across Jamaica, where all of the clouds come in from the south and then they start building across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. So definitely sections of, let's say, St. James, Hanover, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland should be getting in on more rainfall on Wednesday afternoon. And with the upper level wind shear still coming in from the kind of north, but it's more west, so let's say more west northwesterly kind of flow, we should be having more of that cloud cover across especially northern Jamaica, with the rainfall over there as well. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see that as early as tonight, midnight tonight, this is 12 a.m. Jamaica time, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 a.m. Jamaica time, we see a lot of blue surrounding the island. We're wondering if this will actually validate. Sometimes we have to wonder when it comes to the GFS and the Euro models, but we see some consensus and it's worthy of being talked about. We see both models are showing some amount of blue surrounding the island, so we might get in on some amount of rainfall, even although we highly doubt this rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. We see some of that rainfall dotting southern Jamaica, and with that southerly flow across the island, it might make sense. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. Let's see if we wake up to some wet ground. Let's see if we'll have more of a cool night tonight, and some people might get in on some better sleep. Then skipping ahead to about 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually, well, skipping ahead to 5 a.m. Jamaica time, which is actually 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can still see some amount of blues surrounding the island that represent rainfall. More than likely by then the rainfall is clearing out. But skipping ahead to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is about 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we see the consensus in what we discussed on the wind forecast, with majority of the blues that represent rainfall on the north coast. Look at those greens in there. They represent even up to 4 to 6 millimeters of rainfall or more. We see that's the 1 hour total is showing a lot of rainfall right there across sections of maybe Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and we do indeed see some amount of consensus on the Euro models. Both models are showing blues across the island for both time periods. I know that when we have consensus or agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. And we even have consensus on the accumulated precipitation forecast. Both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that we're expected across Jamaica from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can see that both models are showing some amount of rainfall to be experienced across the island, with the brunt of it across northern Jamaica. The Euro is showing up to 0.47 of an inch. The GFS is a bit more robust, showing even more than an inch of rainfall. So we might even get in on some isolated flash flooding across some northern parishes in Jamaica for tomorrow. The GFS is showing up to 1.48 inches of rainfall. And we're indeed grateful that we're getting all the rainfall thus that we've been getting so far, and we're grateful that we're going to be getting more rainfall so that we can, max out what we normally get for the month of May. We usually get up to 230 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some amount of dent in the current drought that we're experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of clouds coming into sections of Suriname, French Guyana, sections of eastern Venezuela. You can see a lot of cloud cover right there across sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. Lots of cloud cover across sections of Florida. Portions of Hispaniola gotten on some afternoon convection today, so too did Cuba. And we can see a lot of clouds coming into section of the eastern Caribbean. Still more rainfall across eastern Puerto Rico, US and British Virgin Islands, section of the Windward Islands, so anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, so Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, still getting in on some rainfall right now, and they got in on a lot of rainfall for today, and they still have more rainfall to receive tomorrow. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean from earlier today, from about 1:30 p.m. today, we can see where we still had that blob of showers and thunderstorms right there off the south and east of Puerto Rico that was drifting eastward. That's leftover clouds associated with that trough that was to the north of Hispaniola. And we can see that we had some amount of rainfall right there across section of northwestern Puerto Rico, had rainfall across the British and US Virgin Islands, and we still have some amount of rainfall at this time across those very spots: St. Martin, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, even sections of Martinique getting in on some amount of rainfall as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that we have some amount of rainfall right there coming into sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, some rainfall passing to the north and some rainfall to the east of Barbados. Not much affecting the island of Barbados at this time, but we can see a lot of rainfall heading into section of Grenada for later on tonight as well. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see all of that heavy rainfall across sections of Florida, as indicated by what we saw in the satellite images with those afternoon convective clouds. Not to mention section of Cuba with the same. And we can also see some amount of rainfall right there across section of Guyana, French Guyana and Suriname. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that 1 p.m. on Wednesday shows that we should be having below normal temperatures across majority of the southern and eastern United States, while we should be having above normal temperatures across sections of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. That's where we see the consensus, not to mention sections of Trinidad and Tobago, anywhere southwards of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana getting in on some above normal temperatures. Above normal temperatures extend all the way up into sections of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Turks and Caicos, and the Bahamas as well. While average temperature should be the order of the day for majority of the northeastern Caribbean, as well as section of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that majority of the Caribbean is in the clear, with majority of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert across the main development region. Some of it trailing into sections of the Windward Islands, so maybe sections of Grenada, Tobago, Trinidad, are getting on some slight hazy conditions, but it won't be that noticeable. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that the highest waves are right there in the purples that represent 2 meter wave heights or more off the eastern coast of the United States, and that's due to the fact that the strong winds associated with that area of low pressure that has been affecting portion of the Bahamas and to the north of the Greater Antilles for the past couple of days is now drifting northeastward. So all of the strong winds associated with it, as the winds around it spin in a counterclockwise fashion. So the strongest winds up to 25 knots or more are expected across those spots, so it makes sense that the highest wave heights are in those spots as well. And we see consensus on both the Euro and the GFS models right there, while the rest of the Caribbean should be getting anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 15 knots at most, coming in from the east, the southeast. Majority of the Greater Antilles should be getting variable winds. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, and we do indeed see some rainfall to be received across anywhere from Cuba eastward. So Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, all of the Leeward Islands should be getting in on some rainfall right there. We can also see some rainfall across sections of Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Look at the areas to the south, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, to be receiving some amount of rainfall. And we know that the reds within all of those yellows represent 1 inch of rainfall or more, and we can have some amount of isolated flash flooding taking place. Taking a look at western portions of the basin, we can see some rainfall right there across sections of central Mexico, not to mention sections of Guatemala and parts of Belize, but not that robust across Belize. I know that when we have consensus like this on both maps, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.